Please help us grow. Click like and subscribe. Thank you. Once upon a time, there lived a nobleman who, after being widowed, married a very proud woman. She had 2 daughters, exactly like her in every way. As soon as the wedding was over, the stepmother burdened her with the worst chores. Cinderella washed dishes, cleaned stairs, and scrubbed the floors. After finishing her work, she would nestle into the fireplace corner and sit on the ashes. Because of this, everyone in the house called her Cinderella. Once, the king's son held a grand feast and invited all the gentry. The young ladies were invited. They dressed up, wanting to look their absolute best. Cinderella advised them better than anyone, and even offered to style their hair. "Perhaps you too would like to go to the ball?" the sisters asked, but they were only teasing her. Finally, the happy day arrived. The sisters departed, and Cinderella followed them with her eyes until they were out of sight, and then she burst into tears. Her fairy godmother, finding her weeping, asked what was wrong. I wish to go to the ball," Cinderella replied with a sigh. "All right," said the fairy. "Go into the garden and bring me a watermelon." Cinderella immediately picked the most beautiful one and brought it to her. The fairy godmother scooped out the inside, struck it with her wand, and the watermelon shell immediately became a beautiful carriage, all shimmering in gold. The fairy then told her to look in the mouse traps and found 6 mice there. She told Cinderella to open the lid just a tiny bit. She struck each mouse running out with her wand, and the mice transformed into the most beautiful horses. Cinderella found a giant rat with the largest whiskers. The fairy took it and, striking it, turned it into a stout coachman.
The fairy took it and, striking it, turned it into a stout coachman.
Then the fairy said, "Go to the garden. You will find 6 little lizards behind the watering can. Bring them to me." Cinderella immediately brought them. The fairy godmother turned them into footmen, dressed in embroidered clothes, who immediately climbed onto the back of the carriage. Her fairy godmother only touched her with her wand, and her clothes turned into a silver and gold gown, studded with precious stones. She also gave her a pair of crystal slippers, the most beautiful ones. Thus adorned, she stepped into the carriage. The fairy godmother warned her, "Do not stay longer than midnight. If you linger, everything will revert back to what it was." The king's son rushed out to meet her. He offered her his hand as she alighted from the carriage and led her into the hall. Everyone gasped, whispering, "Oh, how beautiful she is!" The prince seated her in the most honored place and then led her out to dance. She danced so exquisitely that everyone admired her even more. She sat next to her sisters and was courteous to them. She shared the oranges with them that the prince had given her. Cinderella heard the clock striking 3/4 She immediately curtsied low and left as quickly as she possibly could. The next day, Cinderella was at the ball again, even more exquisitely dressed. The prince was by her side the entire time. The young lady was not bored and forgot what her fairy godmother had commanded her. When she heard the clock starting to strike 12, she thought it was only 11. The prince chased her but could not catch her. She lost one of her crystal slippers. Cinderella ran home exhausted, without a carriage, without servants, and in her humble clothes. Nothing was left but that one slipper. When the sisters returned from the ball, Cinderella asked if they had fun. They said yes, but that the beautiful lady fled as soon as the clock struck 12. She lost one of her crystal slippers, the most beautiful in the world. The prince took it and fell in love with that beautiful girl. The prince ordered the trumpets blown and announced that he would marry the girl whose foot fit that crystal slipper. They began trying it on the princesses and all the girls in the court, but it never fit. They brought the slipper to those two sisters as well. They did everything possible to make the slipper fit, but their foot, even when squeezed, seemed twice as big as the slipper. Cinderella, who recognized the slipper, quietly asked if she could try it on too. The sisters began to laugh loudly. Cinderella sat down and calmly placed the slipper on her foot. It fit perfectly, as if it had been made of wax. The sisters were utterly amazed. Then Cinderella pulled the second slipper from her pocket and put it on her other foot. Both sisters and the stepmother immediately understood. The fairy godmother appeared and touched Cinderella again with her wand. She became even more magnificent than she had ever been. The prince found her even more beautiful than the first time and led her to his palace. And a few days later, he married her. Cinderella and the prince were married in a grand ceremony that lasted an entire week, bringing joy to everyone around. Sisters changed, becoming better, because Cinderella's example showed them that kindness always triumphs over pride. And so Cinderella, thanks to her kind heart, became queen and lived happily ever after with her prince. Please help us grow. Click like and subscribe. Thank you.